Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Act 3 on CHLY 101.7 FM. I am absolutely delighted to be back with you. I've had a wonderful summer. I've been away from the radio, but I haven't been away from our wonderful listeners. So thank you so much. And thanks for tuning into our other ways of broadcasting Act 3. So I'll tell you more about that in a minute. But before we get too far in, one of the most exciting things has happened for me in a really, really long time. And that is, I get to interview a person who I've admired a really long time. Mr. Glen Foster is here. He's been on our show before. I talked to him before, but he's most known for some of our community works. And I gotta tell you, the guy has got a new bunch of songs. We're going to hear one of them hopefully today. Glen Foster, welcome to the program. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Kathy. It's nice to be here. Thanks for inviting me. I always kind of enjoy doing little spots like this. It's kind of like back when COVID happened and we couldn't play out very much. So I did quite a few Zoom things. I did Zoom concerts.
And you know what? Zoom concerts are a lot of fun, right? People really do enjoy because they want to see you, they want to hear you. And
Yeah.
so, even though we know, this is a Zoom recording, that there's going to be a couple of, if the train might go by or the phone will ring
Yeah.
or a dog will bark, the nature of being on Zoom, it adds a little bit of a flavor. Glen,
It's dangerous, right? Because things can go wrong. And we're right out there. That's the thing about live. You go to see somebody live, and it's dangerous because a string can pop and anything can go wrong. So it's real life.
exactly. And I love the business of living. I mean, really, that's the way to roll. You were just on our show version of Act 3 on Shaw Cable. It's airing
Yeah.
right now. And one of the things that I was really wanting to talk to you about today is actually the fact that you've been, since COVID, you've been working on a whole lot of new music. How about you give us a little bit of an idea what's been going on in your world?
Well, let's go back a little ways then, because as strange as COVID was, I released two albums during
Oh,
COVID. Maybe three, because I had one album finished not far away, and
yeah,
we were all set to do like an album release party at the Queens, and it just got shut down.
yeah,
So anyways,
yeah.
we released that album anyways, and then the following year, I'm a little confused with the years 2019 or I don't know. Anyways, I had a live album that I had recorded previously, so we finished that up, and that took a bit of editing, and along with that, I recorded two brand new songs in the studio to kind of tack on. So there was 16 songs on that altogether, and
Wow.
then we released that. So I had a couple new songs there that got some airplay and are still getting played. And then it was, I'm going to guess at the year, I guess maybe 21. Yeah, maybe 21. And I thought, well, you know what? I've always wanted to do a Christmas album.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, so I got busy and I practiced and practiced for like 3 months, and I was doing things that were too hard for me to do. Can't do that. Oh well, practice. So yeah, it's getting a little better. Oh, sound pretty good. So by practicing, I got so that I could accomplish playing these things I wasn't able to do. Anyways, I have a nice little home recording system sitting right there, and I recorded almost an entire album right here at home. I had one older song that I had from like 20 years ago, and then I went into Rick Salt's studio and recorded another song, which gave us enough for a whole album. So there we go. I released the Christmas album that year.
So you released the Christmas album. I didn't know anything about a Christmas album. I would have bought it already. So we'll be talking about that here. Yeah, I mean, Christmas is now coming back around the circle again, right? We're only now 3 or 4. I'm sorry to say that it's a really, really dirty word, but it is coming. It is on the way.
It
So,
is, yeah.
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 So will you be first day with my new mouth re-releasing that album, or will it just be available for sale coming up?
It came out in 2021, so the re-release was 2022, and from now on, it's just promoting,
Sure, of
like sending
course.
the song out to different people, like yourself or somebody that,
Absolutely.
I didn't know about this, but we can use a song for our Christmas show or something like that.
Well, I definitely want to do that because I think that the Christmas show, it's always important for us to share these kinds of goodies. And being that we missed that whole
Yeah,
section, yeah, I want our listeners to have a little bit of a boo with all of that for sure. Uh,
exactly.
I- it sounds like you were busy. What did you learn about yourself during COVID?
Mm, well, I learned that I can do things that I don't necessarily want to do, or that I'm maybe hesitant to do, and that was like the live Zoom recording,
Yeah.
Zoom concerts, like for the release of was it the yeah, it was the Not Far Away album. I sang every song in the living room and recorded them all, and we did a like wasn't exactly a live broadcast, but it was like every song that was on the album, and then we presented it as sort of a concert. And
Fantastic.
yeah, it's kind of funny because you don't have the same audience response. You don't have that rapport, or somebody starts booing you, or they clap
I,
at the end of the song. You don't get anything. So you have to imagine that you're in this world, and you're playing to an audience. So I was able to do that, and like I said, the just the practicing that I did, wood shitting, nose to the grindstone, just work at your craft, which we should always
yes.
be doing, right? And
Yeah.
never stop. But that was more focused. So I thought that, gee, I really accomplished a lot. And I'm playing better now than I ever have.
I love the fact that you had the opportunity to be able to really practice your craft. I mean, to be honest with you, you were already really, really good. And I've always,
Oh,
like
well,
I said,
thanks.
admired your music. And
Yeah.
but I also one of the things I love about the covers of your albums is they're very often incredibly creative. I remember one cover, I'm sorry, I can't recall the name of the album. Pam Edgar, you were on Pam's show
Yeah.
years back now. It was certainly before COVID. I'm sure you've had conversations with her since. But
Yeah.
I recall the one album where you had your friends kind of come together with all kinds of really interesting pieces. Like you had like a trumpet, and you had various different instruments hanging on strings, hanging on threads. Like it was like just the
Is
coolest.
it, did it
It
look
was
something,
that. It was that one.
something
So
like
for our
this?
listeners, that's the Music Alchemy. Was the name of that
Yeah.
CD. It was such a great cover. I loved it then. How about
Thanks.
the
Yeah.
newer covers? Are they as much fun?
Yeah, that was done in a friend's garage. He has like his garage. He has a lift for
Yeah.
working on cars. So we had welders there, and oxygen machines, and acetylene torches, and all these belts and drives and everything. So we got to clean a bunch of the junk out of the way, and then I brought in a bunch of my junk and a bunch of like brass instruments, because it's the Music Alchemy. I built this thing that looked like the little red thing looked like a hopper, that we were putting all the brass instruments, saxophone, trumpets, trombone, into that, melting them down, and then out in the bottom of it, I've got a gold brick that comes out, right? So that
So
that
cool.
was that was the
So cool.
concept of Music Alchemy, that you throw all these things in the hopper, and this is what you get out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It for me, it was the epitome of your music, though. It was you put all these wonderful things into it, and then you create something spectacular. I am interested with your motivation behind some of it, because some of the songs are more than just lovely. I want to say folk songs, but they're not folk songs. They're story songs, right? That have
I
meaning
think
and
so.
impact. Yeah. I mean, let's be clear. What would you call, first of all, your genre? Because when I hear it, it's a little on the folky side, but it's not. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
that's a tough one, because genre tends to put you in a little box, that all the
Yes,
folk stuff goes in this box,
but you're
and
definitely not in the box.
no, and you can't say songwriter is not a genre. right? So you can't use that. So I come up with folk rock because
Perfect.
I do tend to rock out, and if you use an acoustic guitar, that's what the Eagles were. The genre they're in was folk rock.
Yes, yes, yes. That makes perfect sense to me, actually, because it truly is a little bit edgier than just simple folk songs. It to me, it's got a little
Yeah,
bit more. I mean,
yeah,
between the people that you have doing your backup as well. I mean, it's extraordinary. Uh,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
so tell us about some of what actually, let's not do that. Why don't we give people, because we've been talking for a few minutes here. I always, 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 always love to have people sort of listen in. So how about you give us a setup of what the song is you're going to sing first, and let's get into some tunes.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm going to play a song first. I think called "Songwriters Circle."
Perfect.
And as you know, there is a Songwriter Circle program on
There sure
CHLY
is.
101.7 that Pam Edgar hosts right now. But I wrote this song not with that program in mind, but having attended a Songwriter Circle, which is, if people don't know, it's just typically a session where a bunch of songwriters get together, literally sing in a circle, and take turns singing songs. And I was in attendance at one of those, and Bill Henderson was there from Chilliwack, and there's some very good people there. And I came away from that thinking, I need to write a song about that,
Yeah.
and so it happened. And uh, you get an impetus for a song or a moment that starts you off, and then it can go anywhere.
I love it when songs go just anywhere. That's a wonderful thing. So
Yeah,
is it just, it's an acoustic piece or?
yeah. And I'm
Mhm.
gonna sing. I've got a new microphone here. I think it's gonna probably work okay, but I
I think
haven't.
so. And again,
Te-
for our listeners, if you've just tuned in, as Glenn's getting ready here, we're on CHLY 101.7 FM. I have Glen Foster in the Zoom booth with me today on Act Three. Absolutely excited. We're working through a couple of things here, technologically speaking, including my mouth. First day with my new mouth.
no, it's
And
not. I heard you say that like three or four times now. So
I know because it still is not quite connected. I'm wondering what the heck's going on.
it's getting there, though. It's getting there.
It's getting there. Thank you,
Is that
Glenn.
loud enough?
It's perfect.
Okay, I'll go on it then. Okay, here we go. This is called Songwriter Circle. If tomorrow never comes, and yesterday don't fade away, there would still be here and now, and dreams to dance another day. Well, if forever ever ends, or the past could just begin, I'd be lost in time with you and leave it all behind again. And like a songwriter's circle, those lines keep coming strong and fast. I won't ride into the sun to watch it all just come undone, till no one cares and none of this is fun. Like a songwriter's circle, the words we use don't seem to last. I might stay another day, say something I have to say, or maybe sing my song and then be on my way. Now I forgot most of what I know, don't understand all that I do, but I remember why I'd go to be alive with you. Now the words of love are many, and though the thoughts of loss are few, now regrets I don't have any, and deep regards I have for you. And like a songwriter's circle, those lines keep coming strong and fast. I won't ride into the sun to watch it all just come undone, till no one cares and none of this is fun. And in that songwriter's circle, the words we use don't seem to last. I might stay another day. Say something I have to say, or maybe sing my song and then be on my way. Well, there's a bridge over troubled water and a stairway to heaven too. Mary Lou is the farmer's daughter, and I'm hopelessly devoted to you. Feels like I'm sitting on a teeter-totter with 16 tons on the other end. Sometimes I wonder why I bother, and I'm still running against the wind. Now my best I can't recall, the worst is still hard to forget. But if I never even tried, how would I know how far I'd get? Seems I'm so far from the top, but when I stop and look around, I might be tired of facing up, but more afraid of falling down. Felt like a song by the circle, those lines keep coming strong and fast. I won't sail into the west, satisfied I did my best. Then some, yes, yes, at least you did your best. And in that song, rather circle, the words we choose, all things must pass. I might stay another day, say something I have to say, or maybe sing my song and just be on my way.
Oh, that's fantastic. Woohoo! Love it, love it, love it, love it.
Thank you so
And
much. Thank you.
it's so fantastic. And I know that you didn't write it for Pam and for a songwriter circle specifically on CHLY, the show on CHLY, but it really is reflective of some of the stories that Pam has told me over the many years. You know, I'm
Mm.
on the radio because of Pam Edgar. I absolutely adore her. She's done so much for music here in Nanaimo and all over Vancouver Island. She's a rock star, an absolute rock star. Absolutely.
Totally. I was on the show 2 weeks ago and premiered a couple of my new songs with her. Yeah, it was great.
I'm so glad. And the studio quality is going to be way, way better than the quality here. So for our listeners, we just want to apologize right at the get-go. We'll do the best we can about the sound, but you know, even if you just get the flavor of what Glen's lyrics are, you're going to really enjoy yourself for sure. So you have been doing a lot of stuff in the last little while, and you know
Right.
we've talked about Songwriters Circle and the show with Pam a couple of weeks ago, showing some of your pieces. Have you been has it been a busy summer for you to be playing gigs around town now that COVID's over? Are you finding the audience, you know,
Yeah.
really in a hurry to come back and be present?
People have been really hungry to get back to live music and turning out, showing up. I've been doing some smaller venues, coffee houses, clubs, that
Yeah.
type of thing, little folk rooms. And during the summer, it's such a great time. I had my band together. We played several outdoor concerts, like music
Yes.
festivals.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been great.
We're actually right now, I think we're still in the middle of one, like of a music festival, aren't we? The jazz festival I know is kind of closing up recently, but has there been a lot of stuff in the last couple of weeks
Yeah,
about it?
there are. The Nanaimo International Jazz Festival did just wrap
Yes,
up,
yes,
and
yes.
which is why I wasn't at your birthday party because I went to that. Sorry, but
No
yeah,
worries, I don't blame you.
I see these things online, and I know there's a couple music festivals going on this weekend, you know, in other areas. But I played at the Arts on the Avenue in Ladysmith. Parksville does their beach festival that goes on for like
Yeah,
weeks.
yeah, for a long time.
And
Mhm.
we played on the big new stage up there, which was great, a treat. 39 days of July down in Duncan, and Ladysmith has concerts in the park at Transfer Beach. So we did a bunch of those things. It was all great.
I'm really glad that you did. I was actually I work in Duncan quite a bit, and I was
Oh yeah.
there during 39 days of July. I first of all, I love that. The venue is excellent, but I just love that it's so open for people who've never had a chance maybe to hear your work and others' work. It's such a great thing to do. So,
Mhm.
but there is, some other stuff that's coming up in the last little while, or in the next
Yeah.
little while. And one of the things that, why I really wanted to bring you to the program today is for a song that you wrote regarding the Indigenous conversation, the Orange T-shirt Day, the
Right.
recognition. And I don't know, was that song actually, it's called Icy Red. Is that correct?
I seeing red.
I'm
Seeing red.
Seeing Red. Seeing Red
Yeah.
is the name of the song. What motivated you? Because, and for our listeners who are not watching this but are listening to it only, you
Right.
um you won't be able to see. I'm going to try to cut in your video as far as for the YouTube channel, just for that effect, if
Great.
that's possible.
Mhm.
But I noticed what's really unique about this is not only are you singing, but there's a First Nation elder speaking during it. How about you talk to us about the process? What is Seeing Red? Tell us a little bit more.
Okay. Well, first of all, it was kind of a subliminal thing that made me write it. That got me focused because I just had the music and I was happy with the guitar things that I was doing, and I kind of started singing a verse about myself and my feelings about the music industry and things like that and kind of prompted me to kind of feel like I'm not happy about this. I'm kind of seeing red. There's some things I don't like, because I mean change happens, and we don't always like change, so it's not for the better. And then I think maybe I was talking to you the other day, when we did the TV recording, that I had gone to a couple of these things, like at Swilana Lagoon in Mattheosut Park in Nanaimo. They
Mhm.
had they had a day. I think that was Red Shirt Day,
Mhm.
and the mayor was down there, and some people, and they were talking, and I had my video camera with me, and there was the gals that had red T-shirts on that are in the video. Um, that said no more stolen sisters,
Yes.
or no more lost sister, no more stolen sisters. And I mean, it just kind of shakes you a little bit,
Yeah.
and um,
Yeah.
and also we've been down in Victoria in the harbor, and there was a day where all the longboats came in. The First Nations people gathered in their longboats, and I just happened to be there at the right time, and
Wow.
there was a ceremony for that too, so I could see the strength in the community and what that meant to so many people, and that they had things that motivated them, issues. And so anyways, these things started coming out when I was writing my song Seeing
Mhm.
Red. And uh, it was like an orange T-shirt waving blows freely in the breeze. Um, a solemn reminder of so many lives lost through the years. The whole thing about the red dress and the highway of tears.
Yes.
So that
Yes.
that happened. And anyways, I was on this track, and I thought, you know what, I really like this song. I know it's strong and meaningful, and I thought I got to talk to some of my First Nations connections to make sure that I'm presenting this properly. And
Yeah.
and I don't want it to look like I'm just writing a song to kind of promote my career or something, because it's not
Mhm.
about that.
Absolutely.
It's about their issues and what matters, uh, the most here. So a good friend of mine, Tal James, he works on Penelakut Island in ministries there, and so he gave me some advice on it, and then I said, well, listen, why don't you come to the recording studio and do the voice along with my singing? So what we got is me singing and him speaking like in that first, like the elder's voice kind of, and it's when I heard it back, I thought, that sounds powerful and moving, and so that's how that kind of came together.
And honestly, it was arguably one of the most moving songs that I have ever heard as it relates to that particular issue.
Well, thanks.
And the balance that you put, you're right, with the red dress conversation as well as orange t-shirt. I think there's somewhere around well over 10,000 lost children, hundreds of lost women in the culture, and with no full understanding of
Yeah.
how we can change this. And it does it when you put it out there in your lyrics of seeing red, I see red personally. It bothers me that this is
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
so
And
you hit
yeah,
the
I
words
know.
on the head so well.
Yeah,
I
and I know it's not like a big anger issue with
No,
with
no,
a lot of people, but it's unavoidable, and it touches your heart to think that the other thing is having to do with residential schools and how those young children were just like taken from their families, and some of them
absolutely.
were never heard of again. Some of them were. I'm not going to go into it, but I mean it's pretty sad.
Absolutely. But in our generation, Glenn, and we're in a similar age category, it's true that we didn't even know about a lot of this stuff. And so
Yeah,
as
no.
these things are being opened and we're starting to learn more and understand more, a dear friend of mine down has said, it's since 1997 was the last of the closure from residential school. And that wasn't that long ago. And so your
Yeah.
words are so poignant when you think about how near this conversation actually really is. It's not something that our families before us, uh,
Right, right.
you know what I mean? It happened
Yeah,
in our time. It happened in our time. I know that you
yeah.
can't fully give the song justice to the today. And as I said, for YouTube, I will enclose it. But I wonder, could you maybe do a stanza for us or a verse for us, so that people can kind of get a flavor of the
Okay,
song? Would
okay.
you mind? Yeah,
No, no. I'll just play a little bit. I don't know how far I'll get, but
no problem. Yeah, again, I'm kind of calling you on the spot here, so my apologies. And
okay.
it's just to give a flavor to our audience.
Spend my life running from my tears. All those days were wasted, worrying what lies ahead. Well, I've been emerging for over 40 years. Everything's so clear, like the words I hear in my head. I'm seeing red. I'm seeing red. Along the highway of tears, a red dress hangs in a tree. A solemn reminder of so many lives lost through the years. An orange t-shirt waving blows freely in the breeze. A symbol of pain and abuse that's gone on for too long around here. The green light says go, but I'm seeing red. No, I don't want to stop, but I know I don't want to give in. I don't want to end up dead. I get so mad, it's like road rage. I keep racing ahead. The green light says go, amber alert. I'm seeing red, I'm seeing red. I'm seeing red, I'm seeing red.
Fantastic. Thank you, Glen Foster. That's so fabulous. Yeah.
But anyways,
I love it, and I hope everyone will get a chance, especially before September the 30th, to listen to your song, to see your song. Are you going to be playing at any events on that day?
Yeah, so I am, and it's not directly attached to it, but I am playing at a little place in Parksville called El Faro Market, and it's just on as you're going into Parksville from the south end of town. It's just after you get over the bridge. It's a great little. It's called a market because they serve food. They serve great food there, but it's a listening house, like a folk house for
Oh, I'm not
musicians.
familiar with it. El Faro.
Alfaro, yeah,
El Faro.
Faro, Alfaro Market in Parksville. So please
Wow.
come out.
Yeah, for sure.
September 30th at 6 o'clock, I'll be there. But during the day, I'm going to do what I did, I guess it was last year, and that was uh, in behind NDSS school, the track there. I don't know if they're using the same venue, but there was a big gathering there of First Nations people and dignitaries, some from Ottawa, and it was a
Wow.
huge gathering, and there was music, but it was all First Nations, and it's really worth going to.
That's fantastic. I haven't heard much about that, so I'm gonna, do a little exploring to make sure, and find out. I know myself, I'll be in Vancouver on that day, so I won't be able to join. However,
Uh-huh.
most definitely, I would love for as many of our listeners to go ahead and participate where they possibly can.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, for sure.
I think being a songwriter is, it's a gift, I believe. It's really a gift. Did you have members of your family that were like really, really exceptional in music, or like where do you feel your gift came from?
Oh, just old Stephen Foster, who will all be working on the railroad, or I don't know if I'm related to Stephen Foster at all. He's one of those old songwriters, but no,
Yeah.
not really, Kathy. I don't think there was anybody in my family who really inspired me. I
Mhm.
just got started in guitar lessons when I was really young. Well, not really young, like 10 years old. But
Yeah,
I heard the Ventures playing, Walk Don't Run and
yeah, yeah,
Sleepwalk and stuff like
yeah.
that, and I thought I want to do this.
Exactly. How fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite? Like to even now, is there someone that stands out like you will not miss that concert should it happen to be near you, or you'd even fly to go and see?
Yeah, you know what? I think I've seen most of the really great people that I would like to see. Not that there aren't more that if I had a
Oh, of
chance to
course,
go
of
and see
course.
Billy Joel or even the Eagles or any number of people, I would jump at the chance. I saw Paul McCartney a few years ago, and
Yeah.
and yeah, I don't know. It's so expensive now. If I wanted to go and see Taylor Swift or somebody, it's a big deal. But you can go downtown and see a really good band in a venue in Nanaimo for maybe a 10 or 15 or $20 cover charge that that will put on a fantastic show for you.
I couldn't agree with you more. In fact, a family member of mine, her stepdad just moved back to the island. He was in my house just the other day. This is a shout out to Pappy. And he was reminding me because he lives up in Comox, and he was reminding me about all of these tiny, wonderful little venues that are kind of all over. Like pretty much every single day of the week, you can find
Yeah,
somebody to
yeah.
listen to, right? But
Mhm.
is there, I'm curious about this because I know that I belong to a lot of mailing lists where you can kind of, figure out a few things, but is there in Nanaimo that I'm just unaware of a mailing list that has like who's who in the zoo for the next month or two as far as musicians in the many little coffee shops and corner places and
There,
pubs?
there are a couple of sites on Facebook. Island Entertainment, Vancouver Island Entertainment, I think.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, yeah. If you do a little bit of searching, you can find those.
Mhm.
I don't think anybody has all the listings.
Yeah.
You just kind of have to keep your ear to the like Facebook is really my main source for gathering information about who's playing where and what music events are happening.
For sure. Facebook is very good at sharing that information out.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
also think that, CHLY 101, let's throw a little plug in for us.
that's
Pam's
true.
show is always something that really gives you a lot of information, and I think
Yeah,
she's playing on Sunday nights now, or Sunday afternoons, pardon me, for a good part of the day. So, but you can check
yeah,
on CHLY 101.7 FM for the listings
yeah,
that we have.
and also Brian Hazelbauer's
And
show
Brian,
Tuesday evening, Harbor City Beat comes on at eight
yes,
o'clock.
absolutely. Yeah. And Brian is amazing. He's just a fantastic
He's got
musician
his
as well.
finger on the pulse there.
What you working on now? Because you've got something, you've got certainly
Yeah.
this new album. Where are you going? What you doing? What's up?
Okay. This is pretty cool. I'm very excited, and I've got basically half an album produced already,
Yay.
and yeah, I've been releasing singles July 10, August 10th, September 10th, and I've got another one on October 10th. So I've released three songs, including "Seeing Red," which we just talked about.
Yeah.
One called "Different Highway" that I've made a professional music video for that. You can find that on YouTube or
hmm
on my website, which is simply glenfoster.ca.
Beautiful.
And then there's another one that I might play for you now if we have
I
time.
would love it. Let's do it. And I
And
always love having music. I couldn't. And was this for the September release, September 10th release, or is this one that's coming up in October?
yeah,
Are we getting a preview here?
this is September 10th. So this is out and it's live. And
Excellent.
we have two music videos. I did one where, you're talking about music genre. Well, I did one where I'm just playing the 12-string guitar and playing
Mhm.
harmonica. So it sounds like a folk song.
Wow.
And
Beautiful.
then I got some friends together. I got a good friend named Daryl Marklinger who plays with the Joe Cocker tribute band, and he plays fabulous guitar, like Van Halen type guitar. So I said,
Love
Daryl,
it.
come on, let's you can just make a mess of this song here, and he just So, anyways, we beefed it up and made it a heavy song. So it's like an unplugged version and a electric version of this song. And
Excellent.
yeah, I might as well just play it for you right now.
Please, please, please.
I'll tell you what it's about. It's it's a little bit about anti-bullying.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that.
Well, it's a thing, and it's not just a schoolyard thing,
No,
but I mean now it's nations bullying each other
I
and flexing their muscles and throwing bombs at people, for goodness sake. Not
absolutely.
not to mention the corporate side of things that I don't even want to go into it because I don't know much about it, but that there's a lot of that happening. So anyways, I was thinking that from a personal point of view, I started out by thinking, well, we need to kind of get along and don't give people a reason not to like me,
hmm
or more bluntly, don't give them a reason to hate you. But then I thought, if you look at it from the other angle, is like it seems like a lot of people don't need a reason to hate you.
Absolutely. Isn't that the truth?
Sadly,
Yes.
sadly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And
anyways,
and you would think that all of that stuff would be long gone when I detest the fact that it happens in schools as it is. But I always think that now, especially there's so much after COVID, there was all the shaming that went on. Like you're right.
yeah,
It's an adult issue now that's consistently
right.
growing, and that's just unacceptable.
It's in sports and everything.
And everything, like
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
Sadly, I think it's human nature. But if I'm going to write a song about something, this is going to mean something to somebody, right? So the takeaway from it, Kathy, is don't let anybody tell you that you're not okay, because I think
Yes.
you're okay. We think you're okay. Don't let anybody tell you that no, you can't do that.
Exactly. I
Here we
couldn't
go.
agree with you more. Go
All
for it.
right. to hate you. You don't need an excuse to act that way. Why try to please them? They'll only berate you. Don't let anyone ever say you're not okay. Play your guitar, dream of being a star. And if you work real hard, you're gonna go far. So you put on a show to let the people know. There's one in every crowd says you play too loud. You don't need a reason to hate you. They don't have to explain everything they say. They try you for treason because they can't relate to you. But don't let anyone ever say you're not okay. I guess I'll go online, share what's on my mind, express a point of view, offend a friend or two. Well, you need an ally to confront a Facebook foe. Somewhere in that thread, they'd like to see you dead. They don't need a reason to hate you. Don't expect them to change at the end of the day. It must be the season. They'd sooner sedate you. Don't let anyone ever say, Copy, you're not okay. I guess I'll just stay home, leave well enough alone. I think I know what's right. Don't want to start a fight, but you're damned if you do, and criticized if you don't. You can dive right in, but you can never win. You don't need a reason. No, they don't need a reason. Don't let anyone ever say you're not okay. Don't let anyone ever say, Glenn, you're not okay.
I love it. 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 I love it.
Thank you, thank you. It seems funny to use a song that has hate in it, you know, like I felt really funny about doing that myself, you know. Took me a long time, but I thought, you know, just tell it the way it is.
But it's so true. That word for me is a difficult word. It does not roll off my tongue easily. My kids, they knew that that was not a word that was acceptable in my world. And
Right.
but that's in essence, I mean, words have power.
Yeah.
I like no one having power over you to be a better set of words than, people hate, but they, there is no rhyme or reason for it, especially
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
especially now.
I just noticed something today for the first time. It seems like there's a new group starting up on Facebook, and I might have this wrong, but it's something like there's no room for hate.
Yes, there
I
is.
think that's what it is. There's no room here for hate.
Well,
And
at the time of this taping, there's a lot of stuff going on with the LGB2 spirit community. I'm missing a couple of letters. Forgive me for that. My friends know that I work very hard at trying to keep that, like, all of the many, many letters. But the point of the matter is that so many people are getting beaten and bullied for no reason whatsoever because they look different and because they are different. And it's unacceptable at every level. So there's across Canada, I understand today, in fact, that there's all kinds of major rallies and things to sort of say enough is enough is enough. And that's where that came from. That's where that new group came from. Across Canada is the logo of Canada, and the way that we're trying to say this is not going to happen here, not on our watch. And
Yeah, yeah,
sometimes we're influenced by things that are going on in other countries for sure, particularly
yeah,
friends to the south. There are things that are happening that sometimes do bleed into Canadian culture, but our
yeah,
culture is one of acceptance, and I know that that's what we strive to have. We're not
yeah,
perfect. We have there's a lot of stuff out there that sucks and is terrible, but I think
yeah.
that as Canadians, we really do try.
Yeah, yeah, we're in a weird group I think there's a lot of human nature that's just basic animal nature. Animals that scrap for a living out in the woods, and
Yeah.
will kill each other just to live and stay alive. We're basically part of the animal family, uh, but as we develop, hopefully, we're growing out of those things. But it's all that stuff where this prejudice and
Yeah.
bigotry that is still like part of our human nature, and it's hard to shed. It's hard to get rid of.
Yeah, and I also think that at the end of the day, that what is where things start to get you know, into the mix in such a good way is that we need to be willing to listen and to talk to each other and to understand, not for
Exactly.
trying to fix things or change things. You can't fix or change something when you don't understand what the problem is. And so I think, having that opportunity for us to hold space. And also, Glenn, you're doing it so beautifully within your music, right? You're giving,
Oh, thanks.
the harder conversation so that someone will listen. And then, as you pointed when you were talking to Abigail on Act Three on Shaw,
Right.
you were saying to her, people just need to stop and listen and understand from that perspective. And then,
Right.
later on, those difficult conversations can happen.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but we
That's
have to
the
give the space for that to happen.
that's kind of the what I gather is like one of the key points of the whole Truth and Reconciliation Day on September 30th is just listen. You don't have to
Yeah.
spout off, be a part of the conversation and learn something. But the
Mhm.
thing with music is it's such a great platform to make yourself heard. People are listening to songs and they want to hear what you have to say. So why not say something that's meaningful, that could help somebody, or that could kind of further a cause. So I've kind of taken to that with my music. And you know what? Sometimes it's not always sweet to listen to. You know,
No,
it
but
can be tough, and it's kind of like tough love. Here you go.
yeah, it is. But it's being served up in a way. I mean, I think that we all learn in different modalities. I know that to be true. Obviously, I have a teaching background, and we recognize that, you've got to go to a student with so many different ways of learning, that so they're able to receive it. So whether it's through sound and music, or whether it's
Right.
through written word, or whether it's through, we have to find a way for for people to get it,
Yeah.
and then to have a dialogue about it later on to sort of help solidify that. I mean, I don't know about you, but my mind has changed so many times over this last while. Now
Me
that I
too.
understand a lot more, right? I
Yeah. Me
didn't
too.
know. Yeah, yeah. So the good news is that's one of the things that I love about being on CHLY 101.7 FM. But what I
Mhm.
also love about it is I didn't take any station identification breaks today, other than to shoot up that, to shoot in the CHLY piece a little bit, and having you as our guest, of course. But we're almost already, if you can believe it, nearing the end of the program. But my favorite part of the program is coming up ahead. And that is that part where, we sort of take a look at the conversation that we've had to Glenn, with you, Glenn, today. And my favorite part of the show is asking if you could imbibe, a piece of wisdom that you've learned over your career, over your time, over even just the last few months, or, whatever's been going on, in your world. What kind of a thing would you want to share for our listeners? Like, what's the wisdom?
Hmm. Interesting. Well, there's a couple things, I guess. Once again, just because they're kind of on the surface of my
Yeah, yeah.
awareness. And one is, I forget who where I got this, but the takeaway was just be yourself, and I find with my music, there's so many influences, and it's like, what genre are you? Well, maybe you should be in just go with the country genre, be a country guy, or be a folk guy. It's like I don't want to be pigeonholed. I just want to be myself, and I think that's a really good thing, maybe for young people to keep in mind as they choose a career, or go out into the world and figure out what are we going to do with our lives. What am I going to do with my life today? Well, be nice, but be real. The other thing too was, and this was from Steve Jobs. It's a well exploited, if you will, saying that you can find. And he said, like, he amassed all this wealth and did everything, worked so hard all his life, and then he became ill to the point where he was terminal. And he said, you know what, money can do this, money can do that, but it can't buy you more time, and it can't buy you like you and I, who are sort of face to face today, this time that we're spending together. It can't get me more time to spend with my 100-year-old mother, who lives 10 minutes away from me, but I have to get over there to see her. That's the type of thing that to Steve Jobs was like the most meaningful stuff, was that I wish I had more time, that I had been able to do this, to reach out with people and maybe just be nice to people.
I so love that. I love what you said, because it's true. We've gotten very dependent on our devices. And while for Zoom, for this recording and our conversation, it's perfect because it allows
Yeah.
us to have that, a little
Yeah.
bit of FaceTime. And that's what, actually, if I do say, that's one of the things that came through COVID that I'm so grateful for, because,
Yeah.
many people, many of my listeners know that my family doesn't live here. They all live abroad. And, the idea of not seeing my grandchildren for sometimes a long, long period of time, several months, and, sometimes even years, it's so wonderful to be able to kind of connect now in a way that we were never able to connect before. But it doesn't replace being with people in person.
No, it's pretty good though. We do FaceTime with people who live like a long ways away, and it's pretty nice to catch up. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was one of my favorite things over COVID. We had a group of people that we got together once a week on a Sunday afternoon, at the end of the day. It's like, how about your week? Start your week off this way. And, when COVID stopped, and now is resurging, but at the time COVID was pretty much done, certainly for the summer, we still saw each other. We kept it going and kept it going
Yeah.
and kept it going and
Yeah.
continued keep it going, not as frequently, but certainly, as with the same kind of joy to be able to be with each other. Glen
Nice.
Foster, it's been such a treat to have you on the program today. I'm so grateful that you came and spent this time, and that you shared some of your songs with us. I'd love it if you could sing us out with one more. And while that's happening, just to sort of get people to come and see you at your next venue. You said that you were hanging out at El Faro this week.
Yeah.
Is that right?
September 30th.
September 30th. My apology. Yeah, September
Starting
30th.
at 6 o'clock.
At 6 p.m. That's fantastic. And as Glen sings us out, I just want to say, hey, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to CHLY 101.7 FM. I'm Kathy Holmes. I am delighted to bring these shows to you every Monday at 1 o'clock. I also love it that you tune into our show on Shaw Spotlight at Shaw Cable 4, Vancouver Island wide, tip to tip. Glen Foster's my guest on this episode, so please make sure that you check us out, check your local listings, and you can find out more. And also don't forget to listen to us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and if you're watching us on YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button. We really appreciate it. Once again, my pleasure to have you. Glen Foster's going to sing us out. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kathy. When we were kids, we would play outside and swim in the lake at the beach. I love to visit my grandmother's house and in her orchard eat a big juicy peach. Well, I'll never forget how the apple blossom smelled, but that's another story I could tell. The fondest memory that comes back to me is climbing in the old cherry tree. When the summer was hot, we'd wear t-shirts and shorts and run through the grass in the yard. Playing hide and seek, the other kids and me, we chase around the cat and the dog. Riding bikes down the lane and swinging in the barn, building forts in the hay and jumping in the straw. When the cherries were ripe, there was one place to be, that was up in the old cherry tree. Well, the old cherry tree brings sweet memories to me, and I hope that I never forget. Climbing to the top where they all could see, it was me in the old cherry tree. Nothing tasted as good as a black cherry could, and for a feast I thought I'd almost die. The queen ants were sweet and the beans were a treat, and my mom would bake juicy as pies. But winter time would come, the snow would cover the ground. I can't recall a more silent sound. We climb those snow banks as happy as can be, and climb up in the old cherry tree. Well, the old cherry tree brings sweet memories to me, and I hope that I never forget. Climbing to the top where they all could see, it was me in the old cherry tree. Then one day I left the farm and I went off to school, leaving my family and my friends behind. No more racing down the road, fishing in the pond. In the city there were new friends to find. But I think back to the times when we'd sing nursery rhymes, playing games, my sisters and me. Now when I need to feel free, there's only one place to be. It's in the arms of the old cherry tree. Well, the old cherry tree brings sweet memories to me, and I know that I'll never forget. Climbing to the top where they all could see, it was me in the old cherry tree. Climbing to the top where the world could see, it was me in the old cherry tree.